Today, I finalized the contract with a new client. And just to recap, this has been a multi-month process because we work with large business owners that are doing all of their organic media and a bunch of other things for them. I'm not going to go into that right now. This client, he verbally agreed that we're going to move forward probably a month and a half, 2 months ago. And tomorrow is the day when I'm signing the contract. We've been going back and forth with agreements with what the contract looks like, what every single piece of work. And I learned something super valuable throughout the process that I want to implement in my business going forward and how I'm going to grow as, let's say, an entrepreneur, especially with the amount of business that we're getting and how quickly we're scaling. I see a lot that is needed and that I know that I lack. So I need to fill in the void. And so I work directly with entrepreneurs. And because we're doing all of their organic media, I'm only working with the founders of the businesses, but I still need to talk to other people in the business. And the guy that I've been negotiating with isn't the founder, whereas every other negotiations with all my other clients has been directly with the founder because I was already friends with them and I already had a good relationship with them. Therefore, it was a super easy close because we already trusted each other. So for two of my clients, my biggest client, I don't even have a contract with. I have a handshake agreement. He is by far my biggest client in terms of the revenue that I make from him. And it's just, yeah, okay, calm, we're good. Another one of my clients, zero contract. The biggest client I work with in terms of their business, I mean, he has the largest business. I have like a half a page document. That's just an agreement. Done. This guy, it is like a 50 fucking page contract with all these nits and crannies and all these things. Unfortunately, with AI, you don't need to talk to a lawyer anymore. I just have AI deep research this fucking contract, tell me the pros, the cons, and we've been going back and forth getting every single piece done. But this guy that I'm working with, he's the shark. He's fucking he's boom, 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 boom. He's hammering down on me. He's hammering down on my team because he is like the protector of the business. Whereas when I talk to the founder, it's always just, yeah, this is great. Just talk to this guy and we're good to go. And so the moral of the story is I like that idea where the founder can still just be this happy-go-lucky guy. And you have someone that enjoys doing all these meaningless tasks. And they're very meaningful tasks, but they're tedious. And you need someone that has the personality type that wants to call people out on their bullshit. And so this guy, he was the toughest person to negotiate with. He was the hardest on every single point of work that we've done in every single aspect. And I really like him. I actually love this dude because I would like someone like that on the team, on my team, that thinks that way because he is clearly looks at things from what could go wrong perspective. Just for an example, a security and IP and all the data, because we're going to be collecting a ton of data for them. We're going to be going into a lot of their data software. And he was hemorrhaging down me and my team questions on what do you need the data for? What are the exact things that you're going to be doing? And if you do anything outside of that, that is a breach of the contract and you are liable for a lot of fucking shit. And their data is worth a ton of money. This is a business that is dealing like it is a massive tax company that deals with like 9-figure plus entrepreneurs. And so I cannot be messing around with their data. Same thing if I hired someone and I gave them the data to all of my clients and all the things that we're doing and I fuck that up, that is unacceptable. So I actually completely agree where this guy's head's at because he's saying, dude, I want to work with you. Your product is incredible. We want to do this, but here are our concerns. And we cannot go forward until we have this shit handled. Every single nick and cranny, and we have to have it all in writing. We have to have all the contracts in place, which in the past I always disagreed with. But as you grow as a business, it's important. And this is something that I need to learn from an employee standpoint. Because if I hired someone and they fucked with this guy's data or they did something that breached the contract, the guy that I hire is not liable. I'm the only person that's liable for hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage. And so there is a lot of excess risk as to what I'm doing. Another reason for this is we are just in a society that sues everybody. I have a really good friend. And this makes me sick to my stomach to even say. He had a business. He actually just sold it for high 9 figures. And the reason why he sold was because he would get sued too often. He had an old person retirement home business where he had old person homes across the West Coast. So someone retires, they go live there, and they spend a lot of money doing it. A lot of it's government funded. There's so many things. One of the cases was a janitor that obviously the CEO of this company, he wasn't even in charge of hiring pretty much anyone. It was a hands-off business that he was running that he accumulated over decades. And this is honestly makes me sick to my stomach. A janitor raped one of the old people, like one of the people that were in the retirement home. And obviously that is a tragic accident where that guy should be going to jail forever, if not worse. But they were suing the CEO of the company. Whereas the CEO of the company, how would have he prevented that? Genuinely. But people go after the money. And since that guy owned the business, even though he didn't hire the person who hired the janitor didn't get in trouble, they're just going after whoever has the most money where they can take the most from. And that's just one example. Every single large business gets sued over and over and over again. One of my clients, actually, they had to fire someone a few years ago. And this was a lady that was in her 60s. And then she sued the company and said that they fired her because of age discrimination. They said, oh, I'm too old, therefore that's why you fired me. And you know what? They ended up hiring someone that was older than that lady. She was just a cunt. And the moral of the story is only that the more you have, the more people are trying to take from you. So as everything grows, that is always going to continue. So I was always against, and I still always am against, all the legal bullshit that goes into a business. But another fucking example that I have is another one of my clients that every single person would know who this person is. He lost everything when he was at the peak of his career because he had a lawyer that he trusted. And because he was friends with the lawyer, he then hired the lawyer's wife to be his bookkeeper and secretary, or his secretary or his assistant or something like that. And that is obviously a conflict of interest. The lawyer, like this guy's lawyer, plus that the lady was his assistant. And she came in one day and had him sign paperwork. And that paperwork signed over the company to the lawyer, who was her husband. And this guy got in a $50 million lawsuit. So I don't even like to think about this because my brain would never in a million years think that someone would do this. But people do it all the time. And so I would like someone on my team that sees those downside risks because I don't fucking see them. I'm blinded by them. I'm an optimist at heart. I like to think of the bright side. And I would never even comprehend why someone would do that. Yet it happens time and time and time again. So I know that I'm not that person for the job. But as the business scales and we're taking on more clients and we're hiring more people, I have to have the legality in place, even though it is the gayest, the most frustrating, the most fucked up part of everything. So anyway, new client signed tomorrow. There's another guy who I think we're going to take on as a client who just texted me, who's much more chill. This guy has a company where he actually makes more money than the client that we just took on, I'm going to sign the paperwork tomorrow, but I'm dealing with directly with the founder instead. And I'm really good friends with him. That's the difference. When I am already really good friends with the founder of a company, it's the easiest sale ever. Whereas when it's more of a referral, their companies, it's just a much longer process. But I mean, as you scale, you're going to have to deal with a lot of these bigger companies. Actually, the problem is the clients that we take on are quite well known. And no one knows who this person is yet, but they will. So I'm not even going to go into it. But potentially, definitely sign an agreement tomorrow. Invoice goes out tomorrow for the first month, which is good. I mean, I'm not really excited or anything. Just wanting to prove the model that we have that works and continue to just hemorrhage down and get shit moving in the right direction. I would be way more excited to take on this other client because there's some interesting things that would come with it. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm looking to take on one more client at a conference that I'm going to. So it's a busy time, especially because, well, the clients that I take on, they're of massive size and scale. And there's usually a multi-month process to actually get them closed. Just getting everything in the works, getting business handled. This stuff is fun to think about. It's just a lot of nuance. I mean, today I was just going back and forth all day, reviewing this contract, sending the revisions that I needed to, and then fucking dealing with this shark. God damn. I could just hear his voice right now. Anyway,